The king of the 2010 summer of NBA free agency has picked his throne. Cleveland Cavaliers star LeBron James held court Thursday night at the Boys and Girls Club in Greenwich, Connecticut, telling the world through ESPN that he will be bringing his star to South Beach, where he will team with fellow All-Stars and best friends Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, who elected not to return to Toronto and sign with the Heat 2 this week. James ended weeks of will he or won't he speculation, choosing to leave Cleveland, which is in the shadow of his hometown of Akron, Ohio, to join the Heat following an unsuccessful 7-year quest for the ring he covets most. In a 1-hour ESPN special last night, James passed up on more than an additional $30 million, which the Cavs could have given him in a max deal to sign with Miami, telling ESPN's Jim Gray that winning now and in the future is what mattered most to him in his decision. I'll give you my thoughts on LeBron and the C-list a bit later. As for the New York Knicks, they may have missed out on LeBron James, but they certainly gave themselves every opportunity in the sweepstakes for the largest star of this summer's free agent class by inking Phoenix big man Amar'e Stoudemire. The 6'10", 5-time All-Star officially came to New York via a sign and trade. He was introduced Thursday as the Knicks sent a trade exception and possibly a draft pick to the Suns, while Stoudemire signed a 5-year deal worth approximately $100 million, the same figure LeBron and Bosh should come up with in Miami if the Heat can clear enough space to have all three under max contracts. The Knicks did the sign and trade as a courtesy to Stoudemire, who didn't want to leave Phoenix with nothing. In acquiring Stoudemire, the Knicks get a player who has averaged 21.4 points and 8.9 rebounds since he was the 9th pick in the 2002 draft. The Knicks are also finalizing a deal that will send All-Star center and fan favorite David Lee to Golden State for Anthony Randolph, Ronnie Turiaf, and Kalina Azubuike. Lee will reportedly receive a 6-year, $80 million deal. In other NBA news, rising All-Star Kevin Durant has signed an extension in Oklahoma City, while Portland big man Travis Outlaw inked a 5-year deal with the New Jersey Nets. Ray Allen is staying in Boston along with Paul Pierce, and Dirk Nowitzki will also return to Dallas, where the Mavericks have also re-signed center Brendan Haywood. Utah's Carlos Boozer is heading to Chicago. It was a big week in sports, and not just on the NBA hardwood. The stage is set for the championship final of the World Cup. Argentina and Brazil didn't make it. Spain knocked off Germany 1-0 in the semifinal and will meet the Netherlands this Sunday after the Dutch defeated Uruguay 3-2 to advance to the final. Sunday's showdown in Johannesburg will be a game of firsts. It will be the first World Cup held on African soil, the first time either Spain, which is playing in its first final, or the Netherlands, a 2-time finalist, will raise the trophy in its history. And regardless of who wins, it'll be the first time a European country will win a World Cup played outside of Europe. How about a first-time All-Star? Yankees charismatic right fielder Nick Swisher won the final fan vote Thursday and is heading to Anaheim along with yours truly to the Midsummer Classic this coming Tuesday night in California. Swisher and Cincinnati Reds first baseman Joey Votto were selected by the fans for the final 2 roster spots. Swish edged out Boston first baseman Kevin Youkilis and becomes the 8th Yankee heading to the All-Star game, along with skipper Joe Girardi, who will manage the American League after guiding the Bombers to their 27th title last fall. 7 Yankees, including AL starters Derek Jeter and Robinson Cano, are heading to Anaheim. Closer Mariano Rivera will skip the game because of nagging injuries. We'll have a full recap next week. We'll also take you inside the World Cup through the eyes of those right here in the Bronx on next week's show. Here's a quick preview of the MLB All-Star Game, courtesy of our friends at Major League Baseball. Check this out.
This summer, baseball's biggest event is hitting the coast. The 2010 All-Star Game, live Tuesday, July 13th, only on Fox.
Cali, here we come. We didn't have time last week to mention the closing of historic Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha, Nebraska, the home of the Division I College Baseball World Series for 61 years. Whit Merrifield delivered the game-winning hit against UCLA as South Carolina won its first major college championship, the final in the history of Rosenblatt Stadium last week in a 2-1 walk-off win as the old ballpark got one last hurrah. This is the final go-around for Lance Armstrong at the Tour de France. The 38-year-old Armstrong stands 18th with the cycling Super Bowl in Stage 6. And while the legendary Armstrong has yet to show up big in the Tour de France this year, Rafael Nadal and Serena Williams took care of business at Wimbledon, winning titles this past week as many predicted. And on a final sports roundup note, Joey Chestnut also came through in the clutch to win his 4th straight Nathan's hot dog eating contest on July 4th in Coney Island, Brooklyn. But the 6-time former champ Kobayashi, who did not compete due to contract issues, stole the show by storming the stage and getting arrested. His stunt gave new meaning to the phrase, hot dog. That's your sports roundup. Let's hit a quick C-list and talk about the biggest hot dog of them all. Ready for this? Here we go. LeBron James' legacy and his brand, woo! I don't know how he does that. Has gone up in smoke much the same way as his powder trick, oh my God, before every game. LeBron preached loyalty as his tattoo states, but when push came to shove, the so-called king did nothing of the such and actually took the easy road home to his new place, Miami. I knew James would leave, but I was convinced he was coming to the Big Apple. That was the only justifiable excuse for leaving his hometown. Biggest star in the biggest market. We courted him for 2 years, basically threw away seasons just for the opportunity to be a player in the James sweepstakes. But the same way you would court a romantic love, Rena. We wined and dined James. We bragged about what we could offer. We showed him class in the greatest city in the world. And still, at the end of the day, James passed up this dime piece, the only woman who could have really had his heart, New York City. The only love fit for a king. But there's the rub. As much as I respect LeBron and his talents, he is far from a king and more of a punk this week. He copped out. He went for the cheap escort in Miami, the so-called easy championship, as opposed to the hardest challenge, winning in New York. In the process, LeBron has weakened his brand and jeopardized his legacy. If he wins in Miami, will you ever look at that championship like it's his? If you want to be great, you have to conquer great. This was the highest mountain to climb, and for the Knicks, their throne is still searching for its king. Amari is a valiant knight, and don't worry, orange and blue fans, our king is just around the corner, and no, it's not LeBron James. New York was too hard for him. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C. The Yankees have won 6 straight and will wrap the first half of the season this weekend in Seattle. The Bombers are getting closer to acquiring lefty ace Cliff Lee. The Mets are 2-2 over their last 4 games and will open a 3-game home weekend series tonight against Atlanta. And Antonio Pierce has decided to retire from the New York Giants. So much going on, Rena. The biggest thing is everybody's getting out of here. So we say bye-bye.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. All right. We got to take a quick break because, well, you know, we want to make sure that we have some time for you to get to know the legend that we have in the house right here on our open set. And it certainly isn't LeBron James. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.